Hey, everybody.
Hey.
Good morning. Good morning. Good to see you here today. We are Wednesday, July 28th, and we are here for episode 13 of On the Phone. My next guest literally had built a multi-million-dollar cell phone or mobile phone store chain, over 13 stores, and in an effort to help grow his organization, help his people. It all fell down to the ground. He found himself living and sleeping on his grandmother's couch. Amazing story of redemption for our next guest. You know what time it is? It's time to own the phone. All right, very excited to have you here for today's episode of On the Phone. That handsome fellow right there to my left, there he is. His name is Jeff Lopez. Got a really good story. At a very young age, he was an entrepreneur at heart, and he decided that he was going to get into the mobile phone space, which back then was taking off like it is today. And like I said in our quick tease there, he built an organization of over 13 stores and multiple employees. And like I said, in an effort to grow the organization and to reward his employees, he started doing profit sharing and relying upon them to help him out. And instead of it growing, it actually crashed to the ground, and he ended up with nothing. He actually tried also to get into the music business, which he's still in today. And basically his decision to leave that was predicated on bullets flying through the front of his office and into the wall behind him. And so, living on his grandparents' couch, he had to figure out a way to go ahead and build his business. And so he jumped into the digital marketing arena. And in 6 months, he had gotten his business to over $100,000 a month. Now he's making sales of over millions of dollars a year. And he's considered not only a pioneer, but one of the top digital marketers in the country. I'd like to welcome Jeff Lopez. How are you, man?
I'm amazed. I'm even better after that intro. That was incredible.
Hey, listen, you pay me well. You pay me well. So we're super excited to have you here today. What I do usually, I like to give us your origin story, kind of give a little more detail what we talked about, and then we'll talk about the way down, the way back up, and then we'll really talk about what you're doing today. And then I know you've got an amazing gift for our folks. So why don't we start there? You're from Kansas, and let's go from there.
Yeah, absolutely. So originally born and raised Wichita, Kansas. Not a whole lot to do out there. It's kind of a big city in Kansas, but still kind of a small town feel.
Mm-hmm.
Long story short, kind of how it started. Grew up not really having to worry about a lot of things. My dad made pretty good money. And then one day, it was right after I learned how to drive, sophomore in high school, went to school, came home, and my dad had been taken to jail. My mom, sat us down in the room, told us about it. I still remember the look on her face, and she's like, "Oh, your dad's in jail." And I'm like, "He's always drinking and driving. It's like bound to happen." It's like, okay, cool. She's like, "I don't know when he's gonna get out." I'm like, "What, like week 2?" She's like I don't think he's gonna get out. What do you mean? She kept just kind of downplaying that for a few months, and then come to find out, my dad has actually been running a company, and between him and his business partner, I don't know all the story just because I don't really want to get into it too much. But they had an insurance company, and basically he went to prison for securities fraud for 65 years. So literally Superman of my life. Your dad's one of the coolest people in the world, and some people's families and that's how he was to me. And then overnight, just everything gone. Had to move in with my mom, my sisters, and my grandparents' house in the hood. And really just had to start, really become a man overnight, figure things out. So got into first off, got into selling phones at Sprint. A lot of people that I talk to, have been in that background. You can make good money when you're young. Working for a cell phone company, was making about $70,000 a year. And that was back 2008-ish, 2007-ish. That's really good money for 18, 19-year-old kid. And, it got to a point where I was doing so well, worked my way up to management, became one of the youngest, actually at the time, the youngest manager in Sprint's history, won some awards. And then they started training me to be a district manager. But this is kind of where my life pivoted, because they sat me down. They're like, hey, we're considering you for a district management position, but we got to know that you're willing to move at the drop of a pin. If we want you in California, you got to be really willing to move to California. If we want you in Ohio, you got to be up and willing to move to Ohio. And no offense to anybody in Ohio, but that was just never on my radar. And when they said that, it was just like, it kind of felt like I couldn't control my own destiny. So if I wanted to make more money, I had to be willing to move away from my family to wherever they wanted to put me. So I started looking for some other opportunities, came across a franchise, cell phone accessory franchise that had just starting to take off. Opened my first store actually in Austin, Texas, where I live now, because Kansas wasn't available. That territory was taken. I tried to go the next closest state, so I didn't have to move away too far from my family. That was Oklahoma. That was already spoken for. And I was like, okay, let me go to Dallas. That was spoken for. Went my way down to San Antonio, was going to open up some stores there, talked to the leasing agents, had a game plan. On the way back home to Kansas, driving back, decided to stop by one of the malls here in Austin, fell in love with the city, opened my first store from the jump, started doing about $30,000 a month, the most successful they had seen in their history for the franchise. Long story short, grew that to 13 locations across 3 states. And doing really well, making millions of dollars, very young.
How old were you?
2013. So what was that? 10 years ago, 20, 21, 22.
Yeah.
Between 22, 23, he's making millions of dollars in the cell phone repair and cell phone accessory space. So much so, my stores were doing so well that the company that I was a franchisee of, they actually contracted me to start doing consulting all across the country and taking their worst performing locations and making them better. Talked my way into a partnership where we ousted the CEO of this company, got a 30% share of like this $10 million company. Some promises were made on their end that they didn't uphold. So I just, said, hey, you know what, take it. I don't want anything to do with it because, when I get a bad taste in my mouth, I'm out of there. But the problem was when that happened, I'd let my employees run these locations. I'm like, you know what, let me put them in position. Let me, do a profit share type of thing. Problem is when you give kids opportunities that, didn't work for the opportunity, they go and party their money away. Like I had malls, like it seemed like it all happened at once too. It was like malls were calling me like, hey, you've defaulted on the leases. I'm calling them. One of the crews that I had taken everything from the kiosk that we had, like everything was like selling them, like party their money away. I'm on the hook for these leases. There was employees that didn't get paid for some of the locations, United States Department of Labor pulls me into their office, going through like all kinds of stuff. And because I didn't have like any contracts with these people, I had to pay all these back wages, just crazy stuff. Really just got a bad taste in my mouth, said I'd never do retail again. From there, again, like I had money saved up, but I shredded through that money pretty quickly, like, dealing with all the things that, came with that. Funny story is, I don't look like a rapper. I got into the music world, wanting to be a rapper. I grew everything. Like I was very successful as far as like, getting tracks with big name artists. I worked with pretty much every artist in the game, but I did not know how to monetize it. So, I'm living the life of a, successful rapper. I'm going to clubs, we're getting sections, we're buying bottles, pulling up in Rolls Royces, stuff like that. But I really wasn't making any money. So, keeping up with that lifestyle, man, I lost, everything really quickly. Even got evicted from my high-rise luxury condos in Houston. There was a point where I was sleeping on a couch, there was a point where I was sleeping in a car in a Walmart parking lot until I moved into a recording studio and started, instead of rapping, I started becoming an audio engineer and just making whatever money I could, basically I'm the one recording the music, mixing it, getting it ready. We've had stuff debut on Drake's radio station, OVO Sound, lots of big names. That was cool for a while. But if you guys know anything about Houston, like I was living in Third Ward, which that's the hood of Houston. I love Third Ward, don't get me wrong. But everything that comes with like that rapper lifestyle, everything you hear about rapping about, that's the type of stuff that was going on. I had a studio, and on 3 occasions it got shot up, like literally, like, first time somebody comes by with AR-15, just sprays up the studio, crazy stuff. And then the last time, it was like a Saturday afternoon and I'm in the front room painting the wall. We're making a green screen room so we could shoot, content in there. And literally bullets come like flying through the wall. Like literally one came to like 6 inches away from me. while I was painting like through the wall. I jumped down, I go look in the back, and we got like big camera security set up. It didn't record, so we didn't have any like recordings of it, but just like live stream. And I look back there, you know, all my team is like looking up at the TV, like, and I'm like, oh, what happened? It's like, dude just shot a dude like 5 times, like right out in front of the studio. And I'm like, okay, yo, everybody, like, let's go. We're leaving. Let's, you know, get out of here. Like, is it safe to go? We go out there. There's a guy bleeding out on my photographer's car, like literally like holes all over, blood all over it. Crazy. And like, you know, I was like, from that moment forward, I was like, you know, like, F this, like, I'm not like this. I was making way more money in the malls, comfortable. You know, I didn't have to put my life on the line. So decided that night I started looking up how to make money online. Came across some stuff about building a digital marketing agency. Tried to get that going. I mean, honestly, it took me probably about 6 to 8 months to get that going, to even land like a first client, which I'm very optimistic. I'm great at sales. And for it to take me that long, man, it was stressful, because I'm like, man, the less and I still had to work the studio because it's like, you know, I had to pay my bills. But anyways, got to a point where, oh, go ahead.
I just had a quick question before we go on, because this is really important, because, you know, my goal here always is to inspire and to educate. So you were making millions of dollars a year, and then, but how old were you when like 25, 26, when you were at that point in your life when you kind of moved in, or were you late 28? Probably later, right? 28?
Where? When I moved in?
You just, when you moved in your grandparents and you were working at the studio, you know what I'm saying? Like,
oh yeah. So,
right when things took off, because I guess what I'm trying to help people understand is, because a lot of folks that watch this, you know, they get, same thing happens to them. They're doing well and then they lose everything, or, you know, they're at a point where they don't have a lot and they're trying to get to the next level. Right. And so, you know, you know, how old were you? And then how much you were making as a sound engineer? Like, you know, you went from being able to buy anything you wanted to barely paying your bills, right?
Oh yeah. Like, you know, in the music industry, like, it's a cutthroat business. And if you're not very clear with people up front with people, I had so many people, like big names, like, I don't even want to say the names because like you'll know them. But I've had people like screw me over in the music industry, like big time, to where it's like I was counting on that to pay rent, and like, so I mean, I was literally barely scraping by, maybe making a couple $1,000s a month in the music industry, and that's working with big names, because, you know, promises are made, people want to work with you because they're big, and it's like, I ain't paying you, you lucky to work with me. And it's like there's a lot of egos in there, and I was living by myself at that point, so like everything I was doing, you know, I was at the studio till 4 or 5 in the morning every morning, just like pay my rent. I mean, I'm like busting down meals with like my other producers and stuff. We're splitting meals from Cane's and stuff, because it was like, you know, rough. I was up to like 28, I think 28, 29. I was doing that. When that last shooting happened, I was like I said, I got to get out of here. Was trying to get that thing going, but got to the point where it was like I'm literally going to end up dead, or, you know, wrong place, wrong time, end up in jail for something I didn't even do. So I actually, man, went to my ex-girlfriend's dad at the time, because I didn't know anybody else that, you know, my family don't have money. I didn't know anybody else that had money. Like, I like begged and pleaded like my ex-girlfriend's dad to give me just enough money to break the lease, get out of the apartment. It was actually in her name. And that's probably the leverage that I had was, look, you know, I don't want to mess up your daughter's credit, but we got that in her name because, you know, I had an eviction on my credit. I couldn't get anything. So he gave me the money just to break that. And I made the hardest decision I ever made. And that's like move back in to my grandparents' house in Kansas. And that nothing that makes you feel like less of a man when you're 30 years old or 29 years old and you have to move back into, you know, and it's not a nice house. And no offense to them, but it's just, you know, having to move back there and like sleeping on a couch, like a cheap, like IKEA type couch. And again, no offense to anybody got IKEA, but this is like the cheapest of the cheap. My back hurting, like, and that was at 29 years old. Like I said, that was the most demaculating thing ever for me. One, having to ask somebody for money, like to two, you know, living. My mom. Oh, go ahead.
No. I was gonna, if I put my hand up, just finish your point, so I don't interrupt you. But I think it's important here because this is a pivotal point in your life, right? You could have just, you know, gotten a job at Walmart, right? You could have just gone and said, you know what, I'm not doing this anymore. This is terrible. I'm just going to work at Walmart. Slow and steady wins the race. I'm sick of taking risks, right? Got squashed, right? Took you 6 months to get to the point where you were making reasonable money and not having any money coming in. Like that, I mean, it's got to be like the defining moment of your life, right? This is where you find out who you are.
Oh man, absolutely.
Right.
Yeah, it was terrifying. I mean, like I said, moved back, and it's like I'd been my own boss since like I was 20 years old,
Mm-hmm.
and like I said, so moving back, that was like a big shot to your pride, shot to your heart, like. And
Mm-hmm.
then on top of that, I'm living with my grandparents. My dad is like fresh out of prison, and it's in his living room. There's not even like rooms in this basement. It's just like got a bed across the room, snoring. I can't focus on stuff. I'm having to go to a donut shop to work every night because that's the only place in Wichita that had Wi-Fi that was open 24 hours. Grandparents sleeping upstairs, can't do anything there. And my mom was literally like, my mom doesn't make a ton of money, and like I got a handicapped sister she has to take care of, but she was giving me $20 like every 3 days, and that was my gas money, that was my food money. And that was like, I felt horrible taking that from her, but it was like, I didn't want to get a job. And, my dad and my mom were like, look, you're going to have to get a job. Like you can't, you're going to have to start helping out. My car was about to get repoed too. That was the one thing I was still keeping was my car. I was like 20 days away from that thing getting repoed. My dad was helping me pay that, and I was eating up a lot of his money. So he was helping me take care of that. Like 20 days left, he's like, man, and I'm already 60 days behind on it, but they're like, look, if you don't get this caught up by this day, like we're gonna have to take your car. And it was February 2019, February 13th. I remember this shit like it was yesterday. Like got my first sale. It's a little $297 sale, not anything crazy. I just built like a little funnel website for a lady out of Texas. So shout out Tammy if she ever sees this video. First client ever. Again, that was like a huge moment for me because it just like validated that, I can make money in this internet world. The next day I closed the client for $2,500 a month. I cried like a baby, like, because it was like the most relieving feeling ever. And it was like I finally felt like I was on the right track. The other thing is like when I got that client, I didn't know anything that I was doing. I had never ran an ad campaign before. Him talking to me, he would have thought I had clients out the wazoo, and this was just second nature to me. But like,
Right.
He didn't know, like, he was my first and only client. And then paid me, best feeling ever, like collecting that. And it was like, holy crap, this guy gave me $2,500. And I was like immediately like just terrified because I was like, oh my God, he gave me $2,500. Like I better produce. Like, so I learned, I was working with him so exclusively, like he was my only client, but he didn't know that. Ended up building a really good system. And like I said, like, I'm working my ass off to get off of that couch in my grandparents' basement. So I'm like, hey, you got some friends, chiropractors that, that could use this. Let's, I'll pay you to, get me in this. So long story short, got another client really quickly, 2 or 3 within that month. I was making over 10K within, 3 weeks or something. And that's like 10K a month. Then I got invited out to speak at a chiropractic conference. And then that next week I made $31,000 in a single week. And then I went on to, within about 5.5 months, I was over $100,000 a month, actually $102,000 a month by August of that year. So within 6 months, I had a 7-figure business pulling in $102,000+ per month from nothing. And it was like, again, like just the complete polar opposite of side of the world.
Right. It's, and I really want to talk about the mindset because it's, look, I've had a car repossessed, what I'm saying? I'm not trying to outdo anybody's story here, but I remember, the tow truck pulling up in front of my house. Fortunately, it was in the front yard. My wife at the time was upstairs with a bunch of her friends in the house. She had like 10 people over. They were hanging out and doing something. And I, like, the tow truck pulls up in front of your house. You know what's going on. And I'm like, hey, can we just go down to the end of the street? And then, they pulled my car up. They pulled my car up and took off. So I know what that feels like. And it's terrible. What I'm saying? It's really disheartening, emasculating, embarrassing. So what allowed you internally? What were you thinking internally? What was going through your mind that said, hey, I'm not going to go get a job. I'm going to go ahead and make this work. And knowing full well that, the people who are trying to support you were in a tough place themselves, what allowed you to push through that and follow your dream and believe in that? Because this is really the crux of it for anybody who's an entrepreneur, right? Because it's, it's not easy. What I'm saying? Being an entrepreneur is a tough road, and for every one that's successful, there's probably 100 that just completely don't make it. What was going on in your mind at that time? How were you fighting off the fear? How are you working hard every day? What I'm saying? What were you doing? I'm interested in that right there.
Yeah. So there's probably like 2 kind of, I guess, secrets or factors that like I would take into consideration. Cause like I said, I kind of been through something similar before. When my dad went to prison, my life changed overnight. Like it was like, okay, I got to get a job. I got to start helping provide for my family. I got to still help, taking care of my sisters. So I didn't have it wasn't an option. It was like, I can go get, a regular job, or I can like figure out how to make money. Cause like, I got to help take care of this. My mom working for the state, raising 4 kids, a handicapped kid, and my, grandpa living off Social Security. Like that was the only reason we were getting our rent paid. And then one day he died. Like I woke up to my mom screaming. He's like dead on the living room floor. And like that, I remember that like it was yesterday too. But I never seen my mom's face like that. Like she really had this, like, she's a tough woman. She had this, like, I don't know what the fuck I'm gonna do, Jeffrey. Like his Social Security is paying the rent. Like, I don't know what I'm gonna do. So like I started, like I said, figuring out how to make money. I didn't care what I had to do, like make money. It wasn't an option to not make money. So that's how I got to where I was there. So when it happened again, like it wasn't an option to go get an hourly job. Like, I'm seeing my people struggle. Like my dad's living in my grandparents' house. My mom's like, struggling. Like these people are older, and it's like, I'm supposed to be the man of the family, taking care of my people, and it's like I can't do that on an hourly salary. Like I'd rather die and then collect my insurance money than to give up on something knowing that I can make this shit happen. So it's like there was no plan B in my head. Like I was gonna make it happen, hell or high water. Like that was like the other option just did not exist to me. Like it couldn't.
Right. And I remember we talked before. We've known each other a little over a year now. You talked before, and I said, hey, what keeps you going? He says, you said that thing about your mom, how you felt looking at your mom and going through that. And you said you never wanted to feel that way again. And that's really what keeps you driving forward today, is that
to this day.
Yeah, that feeling every day. It's like, it's not here, but it's in the area, so that, you're never going to stop doing it, because that you never want to go back there. You never want to experience that. You don't want your family to experience it either. So I remember you talking about that.
Yeah, and kind of retouch on that a little bit. Like you're right. Like I said, there's 2 points in my life. Like one, my mom's strongest woman ever met ever. Like never seen her cry. Well, it was 2 times I've seen her cry. She's the type, she's gonna figure it out. And I probably learned a lot of my hustle from her, just because she had to make nothing work for a big family. And like she got put in a bad situation when my dad went to prison. Left her with a lot of bills, debt, etc. But like I said, when my dad went to prison, the look in her face, like I don't know what I'm gonna do type of thing. And then like I said, when my grandpa died, like that look in her face, like I just never. So I'm getting a little choked up.
No.
I never wanted to see that shit like again. Like I never want her to feel like she didn't know what to do. Like she was helpless. Like I said, I'll do whatever the fuck I got to do. Like, legal, illegal. Like, and again, luckily I've been able to do things like the right way, but it was like anything to not have to put my mom through that, like feeling. Like she's been through so much. So it's like, I replay that every fucking day in my mind. Like when I'm on these sales calls, it's like, I don't care how much money I'm making. Like, we pulled $32K in the last 2 days, and it's like I'm still hopping on these calls like I got $2 to my name. Like, it's like I'm thinking about her. Like, she needs a new minivan for my sister, my handicapped sister, and it's like that's driving me every goddamn day. And I'm so sorry for the cursing.
No, it's all right, man. I love you, and I really appreciate you. Okay, so now your business is taking off, and it's doing extremely well, and now people are seeking you out. Right. Yeah. You built a program, right? That was pretty much unknown in the digital marketing industry. And not only did it help you build an organization where you're making several $1 million a year, but now other digital marketers are seeking you out. And now you're at a point now where you're a leader within the industry, and you're changing the way people are doing business. So can you talk a little bit about that? And
absolutely, yeah. The cool thing is, like, I think a lot of people have like an advantage when they don't know a lot of things. And it may sound crazy, but like perfect examples, like I said, when I got into the digital marketing world, I didn't know what I was doing. Like, so I didn't have anything to compare myself to, any of that. Like I had to make it work, and I had to make it work by any means necessary. Cause like I said, I'd rather take the right way, the route, but I had to make these things work. So it's like, I started doing things to make sure that I wasn't going to lose any clients. Like I said, when I signed that first client, my car payment got caught up, but I got another car payment next month. There's no way I can lose this, and have to have my parents start helping me again. So I made sure that, hey, what problems are you having? What else can I solve? Let me make sure I don't lose you, type of thing. And I ended up going way above and beyond what anybody else was even doing, because I was desperate. Like I couldn't lose this client. So I ended up building a system that when I started doing that a couple of years ago, like nobody was doing the stuff that I was doing. Like, in fact, I was taking massive amounts of clients from like the biggest companies in the game, like in the most saturated market, probably in the world for digital marketing. And we built the system to where now like that's like standard. Like, you know, what I built, every company period in my industry is using something that, you know, we built in the last 2 years. To the point now, same thing. It's like, you know, I'm finding new problems to solve. And I'm, you know, me and my team, and shout out, I see Lisa on here, but Yvette's on here as well. But like me and my team, like we have meetings all the time. Like, and it's always like, what if such and such? Like, what if like we were our client's best friends? What if like, you know, these types of scenarios that nobody else is doing, and we dream up the craziest things just because nobody else is like doing the stuff we're doing, and we don't have the training that everybody else has. So we start putting stuff together that nobody's ever seen. And that's why it's wildly successful, because, you know, because we really focus on our client's success, and like we care more about their success than, you know, probably even ours. And I think that works to our benefit. I don't know if you ever seen that video where it's like, you know, when you want to be successful as much as you want to breathe, you know, that success.
Hip hop preacher.
Okay. Yeah. So whenever we, you know, like we think about that same thing too, is like, we want our clients successful, you know, more than we want to breathe. And like, when they feel that, it's like, you know, you got a pretty good program, you got clients that aren't going to leave you. And also like, we got it down to where like, you know, there's a lot of companies out there that's like, let's get as many clients as we can, you know, scale, make as much revenue as possible. If it works out, cool. If not, whatever. That's not our philosophy. Like, anybody that comes with us, like, I'd rather work with fewer clients, take them to the top, have clients that just love us like we're their best friends. And we started taking that approach. You know, we love what we do. And now it's like we're teaching others, you know, in our industry to have the same philosophy. Because a lot of people teach just, you know, digital marketing is like, here's how you get, you know, if you get one client, here's how you get 100, and you scale and you put these systems and you hire people that don't speak English to do this stuff and facilitate it. And you never have to talk to people. And, you know, if you lose clients, it's okay, because you're going to make up more, you know. I just don't like that. Like, I don't like people getting screwed over. I don't like, you know, like if I'm taking somebody's money, shit, they bet I'm giving them money back with friends. Like, you know, they're making more money than they're paying me. So, and that's kind of the philosophy that we, you know, have taken on. And now it's like, you know, people are seeing like, what are you guys doing? Because, you know, one, you guys are just happy all the time. Like, you guys look like you love what you're doing. Two, like, you guys are wildly successful. And a couple of years ago, nobody knew who the hell you were. Like, you know, how did you come out in a saturated market in the most, you know, competitive industry? And how are you guys doing that? So, you know, now I'm starting to teach a lot of people these same tactics, and it's really cool to see it working.
What do you attribute your staying power to? You know, like, because there's thousands of digital marketers that get into the game and fall, you know, just go by the wayside. You know what I'm saying? And, you know, what do you attribute your staying power to? I'm interested in that.
Having hard conversations, and they're not hard, but like, so a big thing in digital marketing is like, I think a lot of people get into this business or this realm because they don't have to deal with people too much face to face. Like, you know, it's a lot of introverted people, and, you know, a lot of people say like, oh my God, you're camera friendly, you love being on camera. But man, a couple of years ago, I wasn't a camera friendly person. Like, I was nervous. Like, I still to this day don't go to parties. I hate being around a lot of people. I'm very introverted. And I only say that because like in my industry, it's like everything's all smiles and rainbows when you're getting like results for clients. But it's like when they're not getting results, most people will like buckle and like, oh my God, I hope they don't hit me up and ask me about the results. But where we're like, hey, we noticed that this is dropping. We want to let you know, here's what we're doing. Did you have any other questions, anything we can do? But like, we keep people like up to date on what's going on. And we're not afraid to have those hard conversations. We want them to know we're in their corner fighting for them. And like, hey, look, this is sucking. Like, you know, we're trying to figure out what's going on. And if we know what's going on, cool. We tell them the plan. But we also tell them too, is like, hey, I don't know what's going on, but if we got to contract somebody to bring them in here, we're going to do that. So, you know, that we're working for you. And just, we stay in front of the 8 ball. Like, you know, like I said, most people, you're not getting results. They're just praying that the client doesn't call and drop them. Whereas we're like, screw that. Let me let them know what's going on. Let them know what we're doing. And that's, you know, that level of customer service to where it's like, I'm not afraid to call somebody and say, hey, Wally, like, you know, I know you're paying us each month. You know, last month is great. This month, you know, it's sucking. Here's what's going on in the environment right now. Here's what we're doing to fix that. You know, we're going to see what we can do to get this up. You know, was there anything else I could do for you? And they like that because we're staying on top of it and keeping them informed, and like that level of customer service. The other thing too, like when I first, sorry, I'm just thinking about all this stuff because we just rebuilt our company from scratch. when I first started this, it was like, I got so successful. We had to add a lot of what we call automations. And I don't know, if anybody watching doesn't know what automation is, we try to automate or make everything as streamlined as possible to where we don't have to touch as many things. And that's how you're able to scale a business. But we've recently, like when that started happening, we started doing that. We started having clients that weren't as happy because, they're getting automatic emails checking on them. They're not getting the phone calls. They're not getting the text messages. So we reverted back to now we got rid of about 90% of our automations. We're doing group chats. I got, my whole team has iPhones now, and we're putting clients in group chats. If somebody has a problem, we don't text them. We call them. Hey, I don't care if they're yelling at us. Hey, you guys, one of the sales I had yesterday, client, one of our most successful campaigns, got him 33 appointments in a single week, paying appointments, I might add. And he didn't close a single one. Started a rant about how we sucked. We're the worst marketing company ever, which nobody really ever says that about us, but he was sharing that with his colleagues and everything else. And we got a new program that we're charging literally 7 times the price. Somebody talked about that and he's like, oh, that marketing company is the worst marketing company ever. That's ridiculous. I would never give them money. I get on him yesterday, very timid. Just wasn't really like into, he just wanted to see what's going on. But it was like, I told him about it, told him the price, and he's like, why in the hell on earth would I pay you that? You guys aren't that valuable. Anyways, like I got a little bit of attitude, but I come back and was like, look, here's everything we're doing. Here's the level of detail and customer service you're getting. I was like, we're actually going up on price. So if you don't take advantage of it now, that's fine. More people will, and I will be raising the price. And he's like, you know what? I'm sold him. But again, it's like, we're just trying to add that personal like personality factor to it. And the clients love that. They love that. I'm not afraid to have a hard conversation. I'm not afraid to call you out on your BS. I'm not afraid to, any of that stuff. Cause it's like most clients, marketing company, or even, whatever business you're in, you always feel like the client's up here and you're down there begging for their business type of thing. Whereas like we've shifted the power dynamic to where we're so, communicational with everybody to where we're up here and they're like, it feels more like a privilege to work with us, and not like, I'm not trying to say it in like an egotistical way, but it's like we're so on top of our stuff. They know it and they're just happy to be a part of it. So I think that's a lot of our staying power as well.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of all has to do with the value you bring to the table. Right. I mean, I don't think there's anything wrong with thinking that it's a privilege to work with you from hey, the value we add now while we take care of you versus somebody else. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Time for one more question, and then the gift you're going to give away. So tell everybody what you're working on now, and how you're helping people. Let's talk about that.
Yeah. So we just recently got a huge contract with a medical device manufacturer. And now we're working to build that, make it a very big, like national, like brand. You'll probably hear about it pretty soon. But we've just reimagined like the client relationship. Like I said, a couple months ago, honestly, probably a few months ago, we got to a point where, like I said, when I say everybody's like copying what we do, and not in a, if you're a good entrepreneur, like you're going to look at what people are doing and model it. And that's, absolutely okay. So it's like, I'm not even upset that people are like copying our system, but it started to become like a price war in our industry to where everybody's, charging less and less and less and less just to get business, to where it was like, I talked to my team and it's like, look, we can either like get out of this industry, do something completely different, because I'm not, we're way too valuable for that, or we can create a program so damn good that we don't have to compete with anybody because they can't touch it. We worked on that for probably the last 6 months. We dropped a ton of clients and really honed in on our craft, and basically built this program that's so good. We took a guy he's a medical doctor. We took him from $15K a month, struggling to, like talking about like taking a job somewhere else and closing his own practice, to he's doing over $80,000 a month right now within 60 days of joining our new program, because we thought, how can we really like be our clients' biggest cheerleaders? How can we, support them as best as can be? And now we're charging very high ticket for that. So we're working with a whole lot less clients, but we're making sure that they get the best possible result. And it's like I said, we're our clients' biggest cheerleaders. And that's taken us, I got us a $10 million contract with a medical device manufacturer for this next year. It's insane, the type of stuff that, it's bringing, and when we just hone in on one thing. And like I said, just imagine reimagining the client experience. Like, it's like, we're sending them physical goods, we're buying them lunch, like just everything. And we're factoring into the price, but it's just to give them like a white glove, first class experience that nobody's ever seen in the marketplace. So everybody's jumping on it.
Yeah, over delivering at a high level for sure. So these opportunities just don't drop out of the sky. Lots of hard work, you know what I'm saying? And also the ability to demonstrate value and give them a number of reasons to decide to work with you. And so you've created this program called the Conversational Sales Method, your CSM method. And you can give us a brief overview here today, but you're going to actually make a training video of how to use it available, correct?
Absolutely, yeah. So if you guys comment plus, the 2 pluses in the chat here, me and my team are going to go through there. We're going to message you and we're going to send you a free training. Conversational Sales Method has been responsible for really all my success in any industry. It works in any industry. Another thing that I know I'm probably running out of time here, but in my industry, people use like pitch decks. They hop on Zoom calls. They have, all this slideshows and everything to show people. I just closed $32K worth of business off a couple clients, just hopping on the phone. I didn't show them anything. We don't have a website for this particular product. And it's just basically when you know how to talk to somebody and you know what questions to ask, they're going to give you the fuel that they need and tell you exactly what they want. And you adapt your program on the fly to that. And in a way that, you sound very friendly, charismatic, and personable. It doesn't feel like selling. Like I'm going to say you can close a lot more people, but people got the reasons why they buy, and we can teach you how to, get them to tell you all the ammo you need to, make the sale, but ultimately help them. Because, our business is all about, we're here to help you help more people. And that's the way you should be looking at it. It never should be sales. It should be, how can I provide the best possible solution to my client? And when they feel that, they're going to sign up with you, no matter what, and they'll stay with you forever too. So, but yeah, shout out to my team, the same method we use, and got the best team in the world. And I'm taking people that never did sales in their life and using the conversational sales method. I got a team full of savages. It's amazing. And
so they go and put plus in the comments section, and you folks will get them that free training. So here's the thing. I'm one of Jeff's clients too. And so I met him a little over a year ago and took advantage of his class. And then he actually, all this stuff you see here, everything he created, he helped me build. And we got the Facebook group that I have, we grew to about almost 700 people in about 3 months. Yeah. And, he helps me every day. And, I've got all kinds of cool things coming down the pike. But, he's largely responsible for helping me get this set up and then going in the direction that it's going. So, as somebody who, has worked with him and, has paid him, it's worth every penny. So I was just glad you took the time to hop on today. But listen, the big reason I wanted you to get on today was because I know you can help people, but I know your story and where you've come from, and it's amazing. And I know there's lots of people that are in sales or entrepreneurs that are looking for that motivation, that are looking for that reason to keep moving. And I think you really exemplify, what it takes to literally, be at rock bottom and then get yourself back up to the point where you not only build a great business for yourself, but you're also taking care of your employees and your clients at a super high level. So I really appreciate that.
I appreciate that. You got a minute or no?
Yeah, go. Fire. It's all you.
Okay. The only other thing I was going to say is, Wally, first off, we appreciate your business and you being so amazing. But two, we're clients of Wally's as well. One of the things that also probably helped me a lot too, man, when, we were restructuring this company, it got pretty stressful. Like, like I talk about a lot of the highs right now, but there was a lot of lows too. Like even in this last couple of years, like when we made that decision to not compete on price and rebuild our company from scratch, we dropped a lot of clientele, and it's like, we're picking it up really fast. But I went through one of Wally's trainings and it really just helped me reignite like the stuff that, like that's inside of me, and helped me really discover like, man, like I know I'm a beast, but it's like over time, like you get beat down enough, you forget that. And it's like, he helped me really master my schedule. That was the biggest thing. That still to this day is the favorite thing, just time management. But we just started putting my entire company through Wally's training, just because it helped me so much. So, I mean, we're clients of Wally's as well. So I want to thank you for that. It's funny. Lisa's on here. Yvette's on here as well. But Lisa, she was when she first started your training a few weeks back, like we're having a meeting with her and she just looked distraught. I'm like, what is going on? She's like, man, Wally just got me thinking. Like she's over here like just like you can just see her like thinking so hard and like just talking about life and like really like she's just like, and it's crazy like what you're bringing out of my team. So like I can't thank you enough. Like I said, I hired regular people, and not regular in the sense that they're regular. My team are fucking rock stars, the best. I wouldn't take anybody else in the world. But they don't come from a sales background, and they're doing sales at an extremely high level. and you have helped quite a bit. Like these girls are so comfortable and confident. And I just want to thank you because like,
no, you're welcome. Thank you.
I didn't think they needed the training like as much as they did, but now I see like what's coming of it. And like I said, man, we got 32 sales calls lined up this week, and they're going to help me probably close at least 50 to 70K this week.
It's amazing. Good for you. And you deserve every penny of it.
Insane.
Thank you so much for the kind words. Anything else you want to add before we go?
No, I mean, I really appreciate you having me. Like I said, and I don't want this to be like a pitch fest or anything like that, but like, if you guys are not in any of Wally's trainings, get whatever he has, free content, whatever. This man knows his stuff, and like, he's going to make you cry, but in a good way. like you're going to think about life, and then you're going to reignite that fire.
I've been known to make people cry, and same thing for you. If you really want to improve your game online and generate leads at a high level for a very reasonable price, then that's your guy, I should say. Cool. All right. Well, listen, I really appreciate you coming in here today. I love you. You know that, and I appreciate you immensely. And we'll be talking to you soon.
I appreciate you.
That's Jeff Lopez. I'm Wally Bressler. This has been On the Phone. Hey there, this is Wally Bressler, and on behalf of my guest today, I'd like to thank you for joining us for this episode of On the Phone. If you'd like more information on how to overcome sales call reluctance, procrastination, and self-sabotage, and become an expert on the phone, go to www.phonesalessecrets.com. And if you'd like my free course on how to overcome sales call reluctance, please go to www.phonesalessecrets.com.